Oh, you hear the train? You hear the train coming? Yes, the train is on its way to you. God has got a promise for you. You've been on this road a long time, and you're looking at it and saying, man, there's no train coming for me. My possibilities, what's going to happen with my possibilities? Oh, but the train is coming. See, you may not see it, but you hear it. And we got the track ready, so keep your track ready, because the train is coming.
All aboard! Rima!
It's time to get the train home.
This train is about to leave the station, headed around the world spreading the good gospel and inspirational music. Your conductor, Elder James Lockhart, bringing the world the very best in inspirational and gospel music. Rima.
Gospel train. It's time to get the train home.
You're tuned in right now to KROV-FM, and right now, we're about to go talk a little business. Oh yes, we have the queen of business from the Bear County. That's what I call her, the queen. We're talking about none other than Miss Renee Watson. Yes, bringing us into this is Mary and Mary. And also joining us from right here in the city of San Antonio, we're talking about none other than Pastor Will from Wheatley Heights Missionary Baptist Church. Is that Missionary Baptist Church? Just Wheatley Heights Baptist Church, right here in San Antonio. Okay, I'm going to get it right. I'm ready. Good morning, Miss Watson.
Good morning, and we're very honored and just very blessed to be here this morning to say good morning. And it's a glorious day that we're celebrating here in the United States. We have a lot of prayers and actions going on for all the activities and anxieties that are out there. But we all know that the Lord is able, and God is able all the time.
Yes, He is. And we are so grateful. Business. We're going to jump right into this business because you've come here with a lot of information for the community. If it's not just here in San Antonio, but it's business all around the world.
Yeah, because we are very, every day and each and every day, there's something called leadership, and then there's entrepreneurship. And we work each and every day, not just at the county, but throughout the United States on giving folks opportunities. Because sometimes there's an opportunity that you may have missed. We know, and as Pastor said this morning, there's some people miss opportunities. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people take advantage of those opportunities. Sometimes you miss them because you don't know about them. You didn't grow up seeing anyone else have them. And now we put in programs in place where you can come and take advantage of them. Mm. So through that leadership that we have, especially at Commissioner's Court with Commissioner Calvert and the county judge and others, we have these programs in place to bring that kind of leadership forward.
Okay. Pastor Will.
Yes, sir.
Looking at young people today, how would you look at opportunity for them?
You know, I have a 16-year-old son that I was talking to the other day, and I think the mind frame of this generation being so clouded by social media and entertainment communications, they're missing opportunity because they expect opportunity to just fall in their hands. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot of times as a barber in barbershops, hearing people always talk about there's nothing out there for us.
Right.
There's plenty out there for us. We just have to be willing to not only tap into the resources, but do what it takes to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. And there's so many great programs in San Antonio and business opportunities and things for our young men and women, minority of really any culture, to take advantage of It's just, getting that information out there and being willing to accept it and not just sitting back and expecting someone to just hand you something.
Okay. Handouts. Miss Watson, you do not accept handouts, and you do not encourage handouts.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about, handouts. Because we have to define that, and sometimes society gets that mixed up.
Okay.
Because there's something that sometimes a person needs a handout to get a hand up. And sometimes they need a handout because they need to reach out and maybe need to put a Bible in their hand. Because that's what they're missing in that handout. They're looking for that bag of something that's of this world. But that bag is not filled with the right stuff. And sometimes you're looking for that knock on the door, that doorbell, and you don't understand who's on the other side of that door knocking. We used to run from folks on Sunday mornings, Saturday mornings coming by the house because you knew what their message was and you didn't want to entertain that message. But today, you don't even know what the message is from those that are already inside your house.
All right.
So sometimes that handout is something that we do need. But we're in the business of opportunity. And there's an opportunity for you to go to school and to achieve and to believe. Because I believe that you can work on folks' behavior, but you can't change their belief.
All right.
Unless they see what you're doing. Because then you can change and you can work on that belief. But that behavior is what is critically important. And we pray all the time, and yet our children see what we're watching, what we're saying, how we're running and telling them to say different things when the phone is being answered. But yet, as soon as the phone is hung up, you tell them something different, so that causes confusion in the house.
Okay.
So I know, Pastor, if I gave this mic to you, there's a whole sermon you can do on confusion in the house, not just confusion outside. Because our world has a lot of confusion. And the household we need to go back to. So let me ask you to just give me a little bit on that and to share with the listeners on how we need to clean it up in the house in order to be able to go forward. Because today I'm reflecting on a lot of the things that Dr. King has said.
Okay.
And Dr. King, in his life and his struggle, there was a lot of time we spent on social justice. But as he moved to economic justice, which I do every day, in the whole world of entrepreneurship, we define that as economic justice. It's not just equality, and it's not just equity. But we want what all others have, and through opportunity, you can achieve those things.
I'm really concerned, Dr. Renee, with the strategy of our standards in this generation. I'm really concerned about that. And when we talk about, starting within the house, I came in a generation where you didn't have a choice about going to church.
Come on.
You knew what time it was when it was time. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I believe after my generation, I'm only 35 years old, but that next set that came within those next 7 to 10 years, the standards and the strategies of home completely changed. There was no bar to reach. There was no level of expectation. We were comfortable not dealing with conflict. And you're right, I could preach a whole sermon because as you were talking, I was thinking about, do we even understand the difference between privilege and choice?
Yeah.
When it comes down to voting, when it comes down to opportunity, when it comes down to education, when it comes down to being able to start your own business. The reason why I went and became a barber is because I got tired of being laid off and fired. I wanted to manage myself. If I broke, it's because I didn't go to work. If I go to work, I won't be broke. But nobody's going to control my opportunity. But it's a privilege. And there's a choice, because as a self-employed black male, I have the privilege to make as much as I desire, but I have the choice of how often I do it. And if I wake up and say I don't want to do it today because I want to sit at home and play PS4, or I want to go hang out with my friends, then I can't complain about my status. And so when we talk about strategies and standards in this generation, I believe we really need some people like the Kings, like those who stood on the front line in the gaps and spoke and went out and got these people and mentored them and tried to feed them with the right principles and perspectives so that we can empower them to become all that they can be. When they come out of a home where they're told they're going to be nothing or they have nothing to believe in, where are they going to get that light from? And I'll go ahead and put this pin here before I stop. We got to quit depending on the church to be that light.
Right, right.
There's more light than just the church.
Now, Renee, you specialize in teaching on leadership. How do you move that I'm not sure, I don't know? How do they get in position to become leaders? Because as he just mentioned, I got tired of being fired. I got tired of whatever the reason is, but I need to change. You're teaching. How do you move from a lower scale to become in a very positive scale of moving forward?
Well, one of the things we really look at is, what are you good at? What is your passion? Because without that passion, like he had that passion, and he wasn't afraid, because you have to remove the fear of taking the risk. And we're not risk takers as a community. We get very comfortable, and we like to do what we like to do. But how do we move the type of business that we're looking for to do business with government entities and others, not so customer service driven? Because in his example, not only if he gets sick, he will be out of business because of the healthcare issues. Because he is a sole proprietorship, and he is having customers that depend on him every day. And if he's not there on Monday, they're gonna go somewhere else and find him another bar, and then they might get more comfortable with the other guy. So he knows he has to be there to deliver that service. And on our side, we're saying, so you have a great idea for something. Come by and let us see, because maybe you got tired of working and you're getting ready to retire. Maybe being Military City, USA, that you're getting ready to retire from the military. And you have a severance package, and you're going to have some cash that you think that you know what to do with. We want to help you plan that and to be able to grow. And when you're talking about leadership, most small businesses start with their family. And you have your children and your husband and wife, some uncles and aunts working with you and maybe working for you. But as you transition, how do you fire those people and get rid of them? Because that is a major issue that we see with most small business.
Okay.
Because if you have a family member in a business that's not the best and the most qualified to do that for you, you really you have to come to terms where you make a decision on how you're going to move so you can grow. And maybe you have to give them a fake job and keep them on payroll, as some of them do, we see all the time. But then that starts to cost you money. So then we have some leadership training programs that we put in place to help you to do that. Matter of fact, we have one coming up in a couple of weeks at Lift Fund. Is going to talk about how you're organizing your books and access to capital. Because we know cash flow is one of the biggest impediments of starting and growing your business. You may have a CPA that's doing your income taxes at the end of the year, called HR Block or whoever. But do you understand financials and financials planning? So you have access to capital, so we can get equipment, go from your home office to a lease space, and then eventually own your own building, and go from your families, being your employees, to over 500, maybe 1,000 employees right here in San Antonio. And those are the type of programs that we're looking, and regardless of your background. Because I always have to say the Lord has blessed me to see it from a lot of different places. I was at the agriculture department and worked with rural farmers and family farms. One of the guys I'll never forget, down in Luling, they had a dirt floor. Dog was full of mange. But they raised them 100-pound watermelons that nobody was buying. Because, you know, the watermelons you get today, we call them icebox melons. Okay. Because why do you call them icebox? Because your grandma can get them from the car to the icebox. And if grandma bought it at HEB and somebody put it in a car, remember when we used to have bag checkers? Somebody put it in the car, but if she couldn't get it out, is she going to buy it? No, because she can't get it from the car to the icebox. So we had to go do icebox melons. Okay. So he began to make millions of dollars once he changed the way he was doing business. And his family has benefited, and all his kids went to college. So as we look around, those are the kind of programs and what we're trying to do.
Okay. Now, leadership. You've stepped into an area of teaching behind jail, behind the bars, incarcerated, ones who are incarcerated, to help them to move forward instead of going back into the area. And this is something, can I tap into the area of that? Are you able to help the families?
Absolutely, because that's one of the main goals. Because many of the incarcerated individuals are from our communities. They look like us, or they look like somebody else in our family. Because there's a lot of interracial marriages throughout the communities now, and many of them I've seen them from 17 to oldest guy in there was about 75 years old. So about 5 years ago, the Lord placed up my heart, and because what is Bexar County? Bexar County, number one, is the criminal justice system. And then we build roads and bridges, and then there's a lot of other things that happen at Bexar County, and county government in particular. There are 254 counties in the state of Texas. So when I started looking around, Commissioner Calvert and Commissioner Atkinson at the time, they were over the Reentry Council. So as individuals are coming out of the system, we do not want them to come back. So we're looking at different initiatives to stop recidivism. One of those is entrepreneurship, because many times, depending on the nature of their crime, they cannot get a job. We have now, the commissioner under his leadership, Commissioner Calvert, we've had 2 job fairs for formerly incarcerated individuals. The first time we had about 80 employers. Last month or so, we had about 150 employers who said, yes, we hire formerly incarcerated individuals. The county has built a reentry center, and under his leadership, we're moving into that. But we're really looking at entrepreneurship and what types of businesses. I've had individuals who are incarcerated currently go through the class, and then they'll send me their families to come by and see me at my office. I had a young wife that was struggling with some other issues because her husband was incarcerated. She did not know of all the programs that were available to her throughout this community to help her and her family and to get her education. And so she can start doing some other things while waiting for him to come out. So yes, we work on all of those types of programs.
Pastor, you're working with young people, conferences, ministries. The changes, how have you been able to help the young people to move from one position to another position to moving forward?
Be honest with you, it's all about the mind. It's a matter of the mind. And we, our team, has dedicated itself to making sure that we are literally transforming or having influence in an area where there has been a lack of influence. There's 2 types of influence. There's good and bad. You have to choose which one you're going to be. And so a few months back, earlier in this year, I developed a team, San Antonio leadership team, and we were going right out to the East Side community over where they call it the Hill.
Okay.
And we would go out there every week. We'd take brown bags, sandwiches, snacks, and we'd knock on doors and say, how many children do you have in your house? Mm-hmm. And we'd just give them bags. And at one point in time, we went out there and served 150 spaghetti dinners. And just everybody in the community came out, and we took time at that time to find out, what are you all dealing with? What's the problem? What's the struggle? And a lot of times you see on the news that there's stuff going on, but you don't really understand why it's going on. And so we went out there and we wanted to offer resources, like, let us help you learn how to do a resume. Let us help you fill out an application. Let us help you find the jobs. And I wish I would have known, this lady right here.
Now.
I know now, because there's plenty of people that we could have been like, hey, I need you to come sit down and talk.
Now, those of you that don't know about the Hill is where even police officers do not like to go into, but because of the things that's going on. But what people don't know is, like, I didn't know about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. A change has come has gone into the Hill to make it a better place for you to be able to live in, those of you that are living in the Hill. And we have 2 people that are here that one can help you in the business side, the other can help you in a more positive and direction in spiritual nature, but yet and still on the physical area. Both are here to help you to be able to grow with success and to stay out of the mess.
And I just wanted to jump in and say, there's a elementary school on the Hill. It's called Gates Elementary. Mm-hmm. I spent my first 5 years of life at Gates Elementary. Mm. So it's not what you think.
Right.
It's what you have in your heart, because there are a lot of good people. There's some great institutions and churches are surrounding that, and a lot of people do good work. And I can always recall that at Gates Elementary, we had a congressman. His name was Henry B. Gonzalez. He was my pen pal when I was in the 5th grade.
All right.
Because the congressman had these types of programs, in which we have a lot of elected officials who have these programs, that he didn't see color. He saw kids. Mm-hmm. And because of that, he inspired a lot of us to not only work in public service, but to just have a servant's heart because of his leadership.
Yes, I remember Henry B. Gonzalez.
and I kind of grew up in that area because Wheatley Heights was on F Street.
Yes.
We were right there at the bottom
And the flood came and took them out.
and took us out.
Because sometimes the Lord has to move in order for us to get cleaned up and get cleaned out. And you have a great edifice and under your pastor, the great, my good dear friend, Reverend Mike Williams, because he's going to be calling me in a minute. But I love him to death. But in those neighborhoods, there are some good people.
Yes.
And then that was Nebraska Street before it became MLK.
Yes.
And I went to Riley Middle School before it became MLK Academy. And then over to Sam Houston High School. So we have a rich community. And when President Obama became we did the events, I am the precinct chair for the Democratic Party for MLK Academy. So as we look at from whence we have come, we cannot go back from, like a lot of people asking to take back to what? Return back to what? Let's go forward and we all be as one as we're going forward.
You come out, but you've returned to make a change. Right quickly, I want to share just a little bit more about this. Family, hire yourself as a formerly incarcerated individual. How do you hire yourself?
You become an entrepreneur. You hire yourself. You become a business owner. Because we have on the Bexar County Reentry website, we have a document that's called Hire Yourself, and you can actually get this step by step. First of all, let's making sure you have your identity. Do you have a Social Security card? Let's not get you in these payday lenders. Let's get you on the right track of saving and not doing these quick turnarounds. And the pawn shop guy should not be your banker. We should have to figure out how to get you into the system where you can eventually become an entrepreneur.
Now, one of the things that I've noticed in that, because so many people make a big mistake. Well, I need some money. Let me go borrow some money from these paydays.
Right.
And then they have a hard time trying to pay them back. Some folks get wrapped up to, let me go and get some money on my car, and they put their car up, and then down the road they end up losing their car.
Yeah, down the road they walking.
They walk.
As we say in the neighborhood. And we've seen a lot of tow trucks come by because that's what that business is designed for. And there are a lot of public entities, the city of San Antonio, I believe, in their ordinance about regulating these payday lenders. It is a national crisis that in many inner city communities, because they are on every corner and they make it look real easy for these payday lenders. But it is designed for repo. And that is a good business some of us got into as an entrepreneur. So there's two sides of that story when we look at certain statistics. So it's a very dangerous business as well. Because many times and oftentimes in these different communities, people are reacting to losing that's their only way to get to work. And we don't want to encourage that. We want to encourage that there is some financial planning, and the city has programs, the counties has programs. I know you can contact Councilman Shaw's office up at the Claude Black Center. They have some programs on financial literacy. Because yes, maybe you have to pay that light bill. And yes, you might have to go and get some type of payday loan. But you really got to think about how you're going to pay it back.
So let me ask you a question. Do they still have, or are you familiar with the IDA program? Is that still, because I think maybe about 6 or so years ago, they had a financial program to help small businesses start up. You save $1,000,
right,
and then they grant you $4,000 or $5,000. And we have some people right there in the east side who benefited from that. Mrs. Kitchen was one of them.
That's through the city.
That's very successful. And so there's programs out there that are like that,
right,
that will keep you and help you from trying to use your own collateral in order to try to get started, and then when it doesn't take off as fast, you find yourself losing on every side. But again, that's information that people are not researching or they're not hearing about to get the resources.
That's correct. And those programs are through the city of San Antonio. Has a lot of initiatives in the economic development department. The county doesn't have that program. We also have Lift Fund, which used to be Axion, Texas, as well as UTSA Small Business Development Center is where someone really should start, because they help you to put your business plan together. You really kind of have to know where you're going and what it takes. And then you seek the finance and then location, the customers. Because the worst thing you can do is open up some type of business, and then the family gets tired of coming. Because after the first 60 days or so, the family's going to get tired of coming. Everybody you know, then they're going to treat you like the people that call you and you call ID, and you don't answer their phones. So then within 6 to 18 months, you're out of business, which is the failure rate of most small businesses throughout this country. They don't survive between 6 and 18 months.
Wow. Okay. We'd like to thank both of you for being a part of this session and talking about business in the church, helping people ones to get their lives together. Before we close, would you have any closing words that you would like to share, Pastor Will?
Thank you.
And or any shout outs that you would like to give once again?
No, again, I shout out to my captain, my father, Senior Pastor L.A. Williams. I'm just honored to be in the same room with Dr. Renee, and I'm looking forward to partnering to do greater works in what she is specializing in. And so to the city of San Antonio, if you're listening and you're hearing, or if you know someone who can benefit from what we're sharing on today, please reach out, because it's going to take every one of us coming together in order to change the economical and community and civil status of where we're at.
Okay. Dr. Renee?
And I just want to add, first of all, to say we are in grief and in support of those who have lost their lives in Charlottesville on yesterday,
yes,
and throughout this country, from not only yesterday, but for the last 100 years in this struggle for civil rights. And as we move forward, that the God just keeps his hand over those who are in the leadership position here in San Antonio, TC, Mario, and all of those who were down at the park yesterday. And as we move forward, we also pray for our elected leadership, because the mayor has embarked on a mighty journey asking for equity. And we all need to be, as citizens of this community, in support of that. And we all be able to go forward. Thank you.
And as we begin to close, once again, if you would like to get in touch with Pastor Will, address, phone number of how ones can reach you.
Wheatley Heights First Baptist Church, 7539 Mid-Crown Drive, right here in San Antonio, Texas, literally 1 block away from Ed White Middle School. And I can be reached at 210-291-2019. Leave a message, send a text, whatever you need to do. We're here to help, encourage, and empower you in whatever way we can.
Dr. Renee?
I appreciate the Dr. Watson, but I'm not quite there yet. My phone number is at the county 210-335-2478. And check out our website at BEXAR.org. BEXAR.org. Renee R. Watson at BEAR.org if you want to send me an email. www.bear.org/SMWBE. Thank you.
You're tuned in to KROV-FM. We've been talking to two leaders here in the city. We're talking about Pastor Will of the Wheatley Heights Baptist Church, and I call her doctor, but she's the queen of business right here at Bexar County. That's right, in business. Don't go away.